Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you the ordinary skincare routine for men, keeping my main focus towards the two major skin concerns, which would be oily skin and trying to prevent fine lines and wrinkles for as long as possible or reduce them if they're already present. So I came up with a morning as well as two example evening skincare routines, which I'm going to cover step by step, and I want to share with you some overall skincare tips so that you will have the best application possible when then trying this routine at home and following the steps. Now, if I went through those tips too fast, as you can see, you can find all that information again in the entire PowerPoint below the example routines. And so if you now want to go over this PowerPoint again in your own time and you want to get all that information, you can find a link in the description box down below, so there you can download the PowerPoint. Now let's get started with the morning skincare routine, which should help to balance oiliness throughout the day and protect the skin from environmental damage, which primarily keeps the focus towards pollution as well as a UV damage. So you can see the steps right here. We have one cleanser, two serums, and then sun protection. So we are starting off with washing the face using a regular cleanser that's suitable for your oily skin so that you can properly remove any excess oil, dirt and sweat from the skin or any residue from your nighttime skincare routine the night before, so that you will end up with a freshly washed and clean face before continuing with the leave-on products of your morning skincare routine. So you can see two examples right here. If you should have a different one, go ahead and replace it. However, make sure to not use an exfoliating acid cleanser because we have EUK right here in this routine. Now, EUK in general is sensitive to low pH exfoliating acids. This can be leave-on exfoliating acid products, exfoliating acid masks or cleansers, as well as vitamin C. Therefore, do not use them in the same routine, otherwise you're going to destroy EUK, and that's basically the one that should help you to protect the skin from any environmental damage. So then it's not going to protect you with anything at all. Therefore, I specifically mentioned right here, use a regular cleanser and gave you my examples that I can recommend. Now, if you now wonder, well, how can I use my cleanser? Well, I have a general guide for you below so that you then can put this into practice. Same would apply to the serums as well as the sunscreen. And you can see a similar general guide for the evening skincare routines as well. I'm always adjusting it depending on the products that I have included. So again, we are washing the face, rinsing it off, and then pat the skin dry. Now, for patting the skin dry, take a clean towel, gently pat all over, please do not rub. And this should help to properly remove any remaining water drops from the skin surface. This is especially important when primarily working with water-based serums later on, such as the ordinary niacinamide. Otherwise, if you're going to leave the water drops on the skin surface, you can mix it with niacinamide. It may not properly absorb into the skin, therefore it starts to feel dry and tight on the skin. And then when layering your other serum on top, you can come across pilling, which is quite annoying. This is something that I often read in my comments, and so here you have the tips on how you can avoid pilling. So applying the products to a freshly washed face as well as a dry face is already the first step to go to avoid this from happening, because otherwise those little bits can be really annoying and then you have to start all over again. Still, nonetheless, this is an important little step to do in between. So for niacinamide, that one helps to balance oiliness, minimizes the appearance of enlarged pores, is a great brightening serum, which additionally would be extremely beneficial for this skincare routine. But I want to keep my main focus on balancing the oiliness, because we want to keep the focus towards men that have oily skin on how you can regulate it a bit. So throughout the day, niacinamide can be a great addition. And so then go ahead, apply 2 to 3 drops all over, and then you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. So those are now all leave-on products where you can see that little sign next to it. Then I highly recommend waiting a bit in between, so about 30 seconds to a minute. If it has already absorbed much faster than that, well, then immediately move on to the next step. But I highly recommend just giving your skin the time to fully absorb the product before moving on to the next step, so that again you won't come across any layering issues. Then you're going to follow on with the Ordinary EUK, which is an anhydrous solution. So this is a solution without water, and that's the one that helps to protect the skin from environmental damage. So with the free radicals that you can get throughout the day, throughout night, due to, again, the environment in general, this can be UV rays from the sun, this can be pollution. If your skin is stressed, like free radicals can get activated, which then can damage the skin. And so to kind of repair the skin again, EUK does an excellent job at this. And so once you have applied it to the skin, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now with this solution, I recommend waiting a bit longer in between, because when applying it to the skin, it feels slightly oily, but once you have given it a moment so that the product can fully absorb into the skin, then the oiliness should disappear. Therefore, I changed it to 1 to 2 minutes. Now, of course, again, if it has already absorbed much faster, you can then immediately move on to the next step. And if you should come across a warm feeling when being new to EUK, don't worry, that's normal, and this should calm down the more your skin is getting used to it. Then the last step during the day would be your sunscreen. Now this is probably not one of your habits yet. However, I highly recommend getting into the habit of protecting the skin throughout the day if you have sun exposure. I have 2 example sunscreens right here that I can recommend. As most of you know already by now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Ordinary sunscreen because of the white cast. Still, the sunscreen itself isn't like bad. If you do not mind the white cast, then you could go ahead and use the Ordinary one instead. But with the ones that I've picked right here, Nerd Survivor 30 is a great mineral one that does not leave a white cast. It has a nice skin tone tint to it, not too much, but it's not giving you the white cast. Whereas Cosrx Aloe Soothing Sun Cream is a mixture of mineral and chemical, and that one basically disappears. So that one is kind of like transparent once you have evenly applied it all over. And so for the sunscreen, sun protection during daytime is key. Please don't forget this. I do have a specific guide for this as well, and also an application guide to apply your sunscreen 10 to 15 minutes before sun exposure. And then you're using about half a teaspoon for face, neck and ears, about 1 teaspoon for your décolletage. This guide works extremely well with the sunscreens that I have right here as an example, so that you can protect your skin throughout the day, specifically already since we're working with EUK and with the evening skincare products that you're using, so that you're not going to damage the skin any further, but the skin has the time to repair itself. So this would be then the setup of the morning skincare routine. When it comes to the first evening skincare routine, well, you can see we only have 3 steps, and we are going to change the cleanser a bit, and instead of using the sunscreen, we are going to replace it with a moisturizer. So this first evening skincare routine should help to remove dead skin cells, unclog pores, balance oiliness, and maintains skin hydration. Now, you're going to get started with the first step, which is washing your face using a cleanser. Now you may have noticed I did add the Ordinary Squalane cleanser to this routine as well, because depending on the sunscreen that you're using, your regular cleanser may not be strong enough to properly break it down. So I want to give you an example. With the morning skincare routine, Cosrx Aloe Soothing Sun Cream is a sunscreen that comes off with your regular cleanser, so it removes quite easily. However, if you should have Nerd Survivor 30 sunscreen, which is a mineral sunscreen, well then I highly recommend using the Ordinary Squalane cleanser, which is a balm cleanser, so that you can properly break it down. Otherwise, it's just going to create a mess and you cannot properly remove the sunscreen from the skin. So therefore, go ahead and adjust it, and I did adjust the general guide below as well for the cleansing balm or your oil in general. The guide wouldn't change. And so then you're going to properly wash your face. Again, then later on pat the skin dry, and then move on to your first water-based leave-on exfoliant, which in this case would be the Ordinary Salicylic Acid solution, which basically does what I've mentioned right here in the title. It removes dead skin cells because it helps to loosens the dead skin cells as it is an exfoliant. It unclogs pores because it can break through oil, gets deep into the pores, balance oiliness because it is able to break through oil, and with the maintained skin hydration, this would then basically keep the focus towards the moisturizer. But overall, the titles will specifically tell you what this routine will do when using the products. So with the salicylic acid solution, you can go ahead and use that one technically daily in your evening skincare routine. However, if you're being completely new to it, you aren't sure your skin is going to respond to it, I do have for you a frequency guide right here below that you should start off by using it once per day, 2 to 3 times per week, and then you can build up the tolerance as your skin is able to tolerate it over time. This is very individual, therefore I just gave you a general guide, but it wouldn't be wrong to use it daily if that's fine for your skin. And theoretically, if you just want to keep the focus towards the first evening skincare routine, leaving out the second example evening skincare routine, it's fine to use that one like daily in your evening routine if your skin is able to tolerate it. So overall, once you have applied the salicylic acid solution to the skin, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Give it a moment in between, and then you can follow on with a moisturizer that contains natural moisturizing factors, such as the ordinary natural moisturizing factors or Nioz Hydration Vaccine. Now, if you should have questions about individual products, again, in my PowerPoints, you will be able to find the descriptions of the different products, such as, for example, right here, the ordinary natural moisturizing factors, which basically is made up of multiple amino acids, fatty acids, urea, ceramides, glycerin, your hyaluronic acid, and many other components that are naturally present in the skin. The role of natural moisturizing factors is to draw water from the air to the skin, keeping it hydrated. They also help to create a barrier so that harmful microorganisms cannot penetrate your skin. So this is a general guide based on the ordinary information of what their moisturizer is able to do. So this is a bit different than your traditional moisturizer. Usually traditional moisturizers are there to hide dehydration because they're just going to seal it. So if you're going to add hydration beforehand, then you're going to apply your moisturizer on top. It's just going to seal it, but it does not necessarily do something within the skin. And so with a moisturizer that contains natural moisturizing factors, you're basically, or let's say hopefully, will be able to tell your skin to properly function again. So if, for example, your skin has a little bit more of like kind of like a weaker barrier, and you're trying to get it back so that it's getting stronger again, then using such components that are naturally present in the skin should help to like trigger it so that your skin becomes stronger again and that it can protect itself much better from the environment. And so that's the whole idea behind it. Therefore, I've put two great examples right here. You have the ordinary one, which again is our focus. However, Nioz Hydration Vaccine is a bit pricier, but it has an amazing formulation and feels excellent on the skin, and it makes the skin extremely smooth. And so overall, then this would be the last step in your evening skincare routine. Now, when it comes to the second evening skincare routine, we're going to keep it simple yet effective, which you can see right here. So I did already cover the cleansing step. It wouldn't change from the previous evening routine. Same applies to the moisturizer. All what's going to change is your treatment. And so the ordinary Granactive Retinoid 2% in emulsion helps to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, sun damaged skin, and an uneven texture. Now, I've picked the one in emulsion, not in squalane, mainly because of the formulation. So if you should have an oilier skin type, you may not be the biggest fan of the ones in squalane because they can feel quite greasy and oily on the skin, whereas the one in emulsion absorbs nicely into the skin and feels lightweight, yet hydrates the skin. So overall, Granactive Retinoid, retinols, the entire family, helps to speed up the cell turnover. So it lets go of the older skin cells, tells the new skin cells to become healthier, which then you can see a reduction in your textured skin, sun damaged skin, and even your fine lines and wrinkles. So it's a great addition to add to your routine. Now, technically speaking, Granactive Retinoid is apparently much gentler compared to retinol in the sense of sensitivity. So therefore, you shouldn't have many issues when introducing it into your skincare routine. Still, I do have the frequency guide right here for you, where it says start with 2 to 3 times per week and then increase it as your skin builds a tolerance. And so overall, this can be adjusted, and depending on if you just want to keep going with that evening skincare routine or you want to balance it out with both evening skincare routines, you need to adjust the frequency. So I just want to give you an example. If you now say, well, I just want to use the evening skincare routine for fine lines and wrinkles, well, it's completely fine if your skin tolerates it to use this entire routine daily in the evening. Same would apply to the previous evening skincare routine with salicylic acid. However, if you now say, well, I want to use both evening skincare routines, well, then I highly recommend alternating between them. So on Monday, you're going to use salicylic acid, on Tuesday, Granactive Retinoid, on Wednesday, salicylic acid, and so on, on and so on, so that you then are able to work with both evening skincare routines, yet making sure that you're not going to overdo it when working with those products. And then this would be the entire setup of the evening skincare routine. And so that's all what I wanted to share with you, what I want to cover. Again, I want to remind you, you will find all the additional slides below the example routines, which were all now the little points that I've just emphasized while going over the entire example morning and evening skincare routines. Now, this is what I wanted to share with you, and I do hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you want to support my work as I'm an independent YouTuber, you can go ahead and do this by clicking on the super thanks button below this video, or check out the description box. There you will find a PayPal link, or do it through the download of the PowerPoint. Now, if you want to do it the free way, well then please don't forget to give the big thumbs up, as well as share it with your friends and family members. And if you now want to learn more about skincare in general, see different application videos, or even skincare routines, I'm going to leave some of them at the end of this video so that you can learn more about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.